What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see we actually got 23 picks correct, which is absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We actually got 0 picks wrong and got 23 right, which is a 100% win rate. Yes, you heard that right, a 100% win rate, a perfect day. So we are on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 100% win rate and get 23 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon. Should be a link down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure you join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $946 just yesterday. Another member who won $35 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So I want to give a quick shout out to Pez Montana, who said bro dropping real locks, so shouts out to him. Shouts out to Ramir, who said can I get an amen to hitting today, as shouts out to Santana, who also said good morning. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to get a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below on this one and like this video, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight to the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're talking about is none other than Brook Lopez, and this one is for 25.5 points, rebounds, and assists, and this one actually is for less. Now we look at Brook Lopez, we've actually seen him go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those last 5 games, we see that on March 17th, they faced off against Oklahoma City Thunder, where he had 13 points, rebounds, and assists. Then had 21 PRA against Golden State Warriors on March 19th. Then faced off against the LA Lakers, where he had 18 points, rebounds, and assists at that on March 21. Then on March 23rd, faced off against Sacramento, had 26 PRA, and then 36 PRA against the Phoenix Suns on March 25th. So when we look at, all the last 5 games, we've seen him go on the under in 3 out of the last 5, and one of them he only made it over by 0.5 as well, so it hasn't really been convincing enough to us. Now they do face off against the Denver Nuggets coming into this next game. Now looking at both of these teams, as we all know, both Denver and Bucks are in a pretty good position. Starting off with the Bucks do rank 5th in the Eastern Conference with a record of 40-31, so they rank very well. But on top of that, we are also expecting the Bucks to continue to play hard, as they are trying to continue to actually try and make the playoffs, as they don't want to get caught in a play-in situation. Now as right now, they do definitely look very good to make the actual playoffs rather than having to deal with the play-ins, but we are still expecting them to play some of their main players coming into this matchup. Now Western Conference, we look at Nuggets. Now Nuggets are in a little bit of a better situation. They actually rank 3rd in the Western Conference with a record of 45-28, so great record there. The Nuggets haven't, however, actually clinched a playoff spot just yet, so they are continuing to play at a very high level and try to secure themselves a clinched playoff spot as soon as possible. So for that reason, we think both of these teams are going to come out firing. Now, looking at this matchup in more particular, we do see that when it comes to the Denver Nuggets do rank 25th when it comes to points allowed. They also rank 30th in assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. We do see that the Denver Nuggets rank 6th. So they rank actually surprisingly low in the points and assists category, a little bit higher in rebounds. However, when it actually comes to Brook Lopez, we do very much like the under for this situation here, due to the fact that when it comes to Brook Lopez, he is a center, and the Denver Nuggets actually do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the center position. And we definitely have seen Denver do this throughout the whole season. On top of that, when you also look at both of these teams, Milwaukee are a little bit of a faster paced team, but we are expecting Denver to actually slow down this Milwaukee Bucks team as much as they can, which should lead to less volume and less opportunity for someone like Lopez. As you all know, Lopez doesn't have the highest usage rate in the points, rebounds, and assist department. There are definitely other stars in this Bucks team, so we we are expecting a lot more of them to take more of the usage rate, especially due to the fact that they do a great job against centers. We should see him a little bit struggle from this field. And a big reason being is that Denver do have great defensive big men, Jokic, Aaron Gordon, players like other players in this team also do great, but whether they do play, some of them do play or don't, we just definitely have seen throughout the whole season Denver do a great job against centers, and we definitely see that being a big case coming into this game. Now, looking at Brook Lopez against actually Denver Nuggets so far this season, we've actually seen them face off against them actually once, which was on the 27th of February. So this actually was recent. Now, during that matchup, we actually saw him get 22 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. So he did go over on that line. However, we do very much still like the under for this situation here. We definitely still expecting that due to the fact that he may have gotten lucky in this game. There were also a couple of injuries from both Milwaukee and Denver, which led to a little bit of an increased rate of usage for someone like Brook Lopez. So we definitely saw him take advantage of that, but he did only just make it over by not too much. So for that reason, for this next one, we still do very much like, the under for this situation for someone like Brook Lopez coming into this matchup. So for that reason, keep an eye out for Brook Lopez, 25.5 points, revs, and assists for less. I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about Jamal Murray. As you all know, Jamal Murray, great player for none other than the Denver Nuggets. So it is the same game, but looking from a different angle. Now we look at them where Jamal Murray, 24.5 points. This one actually is for less. Now, when we look at Jamal, we've actually seen him go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at these, we actually do see that he's gone on the under 2 out of the last 5. We see that against LA Lakers on March 15th, he had 26 points. Moving on from that, faced off against the Washington Wizards, having 24 points on March 16th. Then on March 22nd, faced off against Portland Trail Blazers, where he had 10 points. He had 39 points next against Houston Rockets on March 24th. And then March 25th, Chicago Bulls they faced off against and had 28 points there. So he's going on the under 2 out of the last 5, and his average over the last 5 is 25.4. Now it is above this line, but like we always mention, we think on a per position basis and also a per matchup basis, that is where we definitely see, the cream of the crop. And looking at the matchup, they do face off against Milwaukee Bucks. Now, we did just most recently talk about the Milwaukee Bucks when it comes to standings. Just a quick refresher, 5th for Bucks, 40-31 record. And then Denver Nuggets have a record of 45-28, ranked them 3rd. So we are expecting both of these teams to come out firing. Now, looking at actually, the matchup between these two, we do see that the Milwaukee Bucks do actually rank 12th when it comes to points allowed. So they rank a very high. So when it comes to that, they not only just rank 12th, but on top of that, they also do a fantastic job at restricting points to the guard position. So for that reason, we do very much expect, Jamal Murray maybe to struggle in this matchup due to the fact that Milwaukee are a great defensive team. What we have seen time and time again as well from this Milwaukee Bucks team is that they do a fantastic job at actually trying to restrict their stars or stars from other teams as much as possible. So we definitely see that being the case coming into this game. Milwaukee Bucks, the way they like their defensive strategies is to restrict the stars as much as possible, let the others try to score, and because of that, it definitely leads to stars having, a little bit less usage rate out there, and that's what we are expecting and are expected to see in this game right here. Now, like we mentioned before, when we look at the past games from Jamal Murray against Bucks so far this season, we also do see a similar situation, because when we actually look at their matchup, which they did face off against on the 27th, we saw him only get 20 points in that matchup. So he actually did go under on his line. And for that reason, we are expecting a similar situation coming into this next one. Jamal Murray during this game did have 20 field goal attempts as well. He shot 45% from the field, and also 40% from the 3. So, he did have a high volume shooting night, but Milwaukee Bucks do a fantastic job at just restricting that and trying to get him off his game. We are expecting a similar situation, especially since the Milwaukee Bucks are trying to secure another win for this team. So I definitely would keep an eye out for Jamal Murray. When you look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have him favored for the under as well. So that works out in our favor. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about, a great player, and that is AJ Johnson. Now, as you all know, guys, we are obviously heading into the second half of the season and also finalizing the season. So there are a couple of picks that are a little bit more of players that, may be from the bench, maybe role players, but they do hold a lot of value for it. Now, this one's a great one for AJ Johnson because this one is for 21.5 points, rebs, and assists, and this one actually is for less. So when it actually comes to AJ Johnson, as we all know, you may have heard of him, you may have not, from the Wizards. He is a great player. Now, he has gone on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. So he's done a fantastic job, at actually going on the under, because that's what we want, as we are liking the under for this. Now, when we look at their matchups, March 18th, face off against Portland, had 19 points, rebounds, and assists. Then had 19 again against Utah on March 20. Then against Orlando Magic on March 22nd, had 19 PRA. On March 23rd, New York Knicks had a 14 PRA, and then finished off with a 26 PRA against the Toronto Raptors on March 25th. So like we mentioned, it's going on the under 4 out of the last 5 games, and his average over the last 5 is also 19.4, which is a big thing for us, as it is significantly below this line. Now, looking at AJ Johnson and especially this Washington Wizards team, they do have themselves an interesting matchup against the Philadelphia 76ers. So as you all know, looking at both of these teams, we do see that Washington Wizards do rank 15th when it comes to the Eastern Conference. They have a record of 15 and 56. Now, on top of that, when you also look at a team like the 76ers, similar situation, as they do rank 13th in the Eastern Conference with a record of 23 and 49. So, interesting record there. When we look at both of these teams, obviously both are looking to definitely tank, and tank at will at that. However, looking at both of these teams, still looking at 76ers, we do see that they rank 19th when it comes to points allowed. Assists allowed, they rank 24th, and then 24th in rebounds allowed. Now, we do still like the under for this situation here for 2 reasons. Now, a big reason is that when it comes to the Wizards, we are expecting them to tank, and we could see someone like AJ Johnson actually go on the under here due to that reason. We may not see him get the same amount of usage rate that he usually does see, and that's what we have seen over the last 5 games as well, which is why he's consistently going on the under time and time again. So we definitely see that being the case coming into this next one. On top of that, when you also look at the 76ers, they also do a pretty decent job at actually restricting, points, rebounds, and assists to the actual shooting guard position, which is what AJ Johnson technically usually does play. Sometimes he does get into the point guard position, usually on the shooting guard. Now, point guard, they do rank a little bit worse, but shooting guards, they do a pretty decent job. But we definitely see it being enough to see someone like AJ Johnson go on the under here. So for that reason, we are definitely sticking to the under for this situation for someone like AJ Johnson in the PRA category against Philly, especially with the tanking that is going on as of right now. And with 76ers, they may pull out early as well, looking to tank as much as they can. So we could definitely see both of them, play or play not their best players very, very well and at a very high usage rate. So we definitely see those things taken into consideration. And when we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have been favored for the under as well. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for him. AJ Johnson, 21.5 points, rebs, and assists for less, I think is a fantastic pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Jordan Poole. Now, as you all know, Jordan Poole is a fantastic player for none other than the Washington Wizards, and the Wizards do have themselves a very, very good matchup against none other than the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, before we look at both of these teams, I do want to talk about Jordan Poole's stats so far this season. He has been averaging 20.5 points, 3.1 rebounds, 4.5 assists, while also shooting 42.6% from the field. So he's done a great job there. When you look at some of his rankings as well, he ranks 35th in points, 47th in assists, and 109th in field goal percentage. So, decent job there for someone like Jordan Poole. Now, when we look at, the Washington Wizards and 76ers matchup, now looking at both these teams, starting off with the Wizards, we know the Wizards do rank last in the Eastern Conference with a record of 15-56. So they rank 15th. They are looking to continue to tank at as much as they can due to the fact that they do want to get a high draft pick, and, they are going to continue to tank at that. 76ers, similar situation. They do currently rank 13th in the Eastern Conference as well with a record of 23-49, and we are also expecting a similar situation as well for someone like the 76ers, as we are expecting them to tank as well coming into this matchup, due to the fact that when it comes to the matchup, big reason for that is because both these teams are trying to get a high draft pick. But now looking at the 76ers, when it comes to points, rebounds, and assists allowed, we do see that the 76ers do rank 19th when it comes to points allowed, 24th when it comes to assists allowed, and then 24th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So, as you all know, when we look at, 76ers, they do rank very, very low in all three categories. However, when we look at this matchup, we still do like the over for this situation, however, strictly for points. A big reason being for this is that when it comes to Jordan Poole, he does have a decent usage rate in all three departments, but his highest usage rate actually remains to be in points. And because of that, we definitely see him more likely to go over on that. We see his other stats and rebounds and assists be more unintentional. Now, what I mean by that is we tend to see him really just focusing a lot more on points when he has a usage rate and when he has the minutes out there on the floor. Now, we definitely still see him going on the over, but strictly just for points in this category, due to the fact, like we mentioned, obviously the Wizards are looking to tank, so we may not see Jordan Poole play 30 minutes in this game. As you see, over the last 5 games, he only played 22 minutes, most recently against Toronto. Now, he still got 23 points, however. He played another game, only 28 minutes, so he still had 25 points. Another matchup against Utah, he had 20 minutes, and another matchup against Portland, he had 11 minutes. So, as you see, obviously his usage rate has definitely fallen quite a bit, but we still do like the over, but strictly just for the points department, due to the fact that when it comes to Jordan Poole, even when he's out there for 20-25 minutes, we tend to see him still get his shots up and be able to put on a high volume shooting night. And we think just off sheer volume alone, he should be able to go over on this situation, especially in the points department. And the fact that 76ers do rank low in the points category as well definitely helps out in this favor as well. So for that reason, we do very much like the over for someone like Jordan Poole coming into this matchup, especially against the Washington Wizards. So keep an eye out for his line. If the line is under his averages, definitely look to go on the over. So definitely see a lot of great value there. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Toronto Raptors RJ Barrett. So as you all know, RJ Barrett, great player for none other than Toronto Raptors. And he's done a fantastic job so far this season because he's been averaging 21.4 points, which ranks him 27th, 6.5 rebounds, which ranks him 43rd, 5.6 assists, which actually has him tied at 29th, and then 47.2% from the field, which ranks him 62nd. So he's done a fantastic job for this Toronto Raptors team. And when it comes to the Toronto Raptors, they do have themselves a very, very good matchup against the Brooklyn Nets. Now, as you all know, when you look at both of these teams, we definitely see something interesting due to the fact that when you look, starting off with the Raptors do rank 11th in the Eastern Conference with a record of 25-47. So they have a very, very poor record. They aren't really in the playoff contention or play-in contention at that. So we are expecting this Toronto Raptors team to tank coming into this matchup. Now, looking elsewhere, what we also do see is that when you look at the Brooklyn Nets on the other side, we do see that they rank 12th in the Eastern Conference with a record of 23-49. So, somewhat of a similar record there. Now, both of these teams are continuing to tank and to tank at will, and we definitely see that having a huge effect, especially in this matchup, between these two teams. Now, looking at Brooklyn Nets, although Brooklyn Nets don't really rank too high, surprisingly, they rank 9th when it comes to points allowed. When it comes to assists allowed, we also do see the Nets rank 18th, and then rebounds allowed, We also do see that the Nets do rank very well at 9th as well. So assists is the only one they rank low in, but when it comes to RJ Barrett, we do very much like the under for this situation here. A big reason being why we do like the under is not only due to the fact that Nets rank high, in points and the rebounding category, but on top of that, what we also do see or have seen is that when it actually comes to the shooting guard position, which is what RJ Barrett is, we've actually seen Brooklyn Nets do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to that position. So we definitely see that playing a huge part coming into this game, which is why we do like the under for this one. Now, I would definitely focus a little bit more on points and rebounds in this category due to the fact that when it actually comes to Toronto, we have seen, time and time again, especially over the last couple of games, that RJ Barrett's usage rate has definitely decreased quite a bit. A big reason for that is due to the fact that, like we mentioned before, Toronto Raptors are actually looking to tank. So we definitely see that being the case coming into this next game, no doubt about it. Now, both of these teams are pretty decently paced teams, but we are expecting a slower pace type game due to the fact that Brooklyn Nets are a little bit slower, and we are expecting them to slow down Toronto Raptors pace, which should see a decrease in RJ Barrett's pace as well, less volume in those categories. So, like I mentioned before, definitely stick or focus on points and rebounds. I definitely see a little bit more value for him to go on the under in those two, due to the fact that Brooklyn Nets rank higher in those two categories. But when you look at his most recent games, we do see somewhat of a similar situation. We actually saw against Spurs, he did have 18 points, which is under his line, 2 assists, which is under his averages at that sense, and then 7 rebounds. He did make it over, but only by 0.5. And then moving on from that, we also saw him have 17 points, 5 assists, and 2 rebounds against Utah Jazz, which is all under his averages there. And then another game where he had 14 points, 8 assists, and 10 rebounds against Washington. So we definitely have seen time and time again that when it comes to someone like RJ Barrett, we've seen him go on the under multiple times. Now, obviously, looking at some of the most recent games, he did face off against easier teams and was still going on the under. Now, although Brooklyn Nets are technically an easy team, when you look at their defensiveness and what they are capable of doing, restricting points and rebounds, you actually see them do a very good job, which is why we are expecting even less for someone like RJ Barrett coming into this matchup. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for RJ Barrett coming into this game. Keep an eye out for his line. If the line is too close to his averages, definitely look to go on the under, as I definitely see a lot of great value there for someone like RJ Barrett. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about none other than Ivica Zubac. So, as we all know, Zubac, great player for the LA Clippers, and he's been doing a fantastic job, averaging 16.4 points, which ranks him 59th, 12.5 rebounds, which ranks him 4th, and then 2.6 assists, which ranks him 96th, with a 62.1 field goal percentage, which ranks him 6th as well. So, Ivica Zubac has had himself a fantastic season and also has been putting up some great numbers so far this season as well. And when it comes to the LA Clippers, they do have themselves a great matchup against the New York Knicks. Now, it is going to be an exciting game, as you all know, when we look at both of these teams. Starting off with the LA Clippers, we see that the LA Clippers do rank 7th in the Western Conference with a record of 40-31. Now, they have done decently so far this season, especially in a tough Western Conference. On top of that, however, when you also look at Clippers, they are currently in the play-in situation. They are trying to make it out of it, and they are only one game behind 6th place, which is the Golden State Warriors, with a record of 41-31. So we are expecting, Clippers to make a big push to get these wins under their belt in order to get them out of the play-in situation. So because of that, it's definitely going to be a very hard-fought game for this Clippers team. We are expecting them to really come out guns blazing. Now, when we look at New York Knicks on the other side, we see that the Knicks do rank 3rd in the Eastern Conference with a record of 45-26. So very much a different record there. They also rank very much higher in the category of, the Eastern Conference due to the fact that, they have been mentioned that East is a little bit easier, but besides the point, not in that discussion right now, but New York Knicks do rank 3rd. Now, they haven't clinched a playoff spot just yet, but they are very close. So we definitely could see Knicks continue to push forward and push as hard as they can, as they are trying to push to make the playoffs and get them in a very, very good position there. So I definitely would keep an eye out for this game. It is definitely going to be an exciting one. Now, when we look at the Knicks, we do see an interesting story because the Knicks do rank when it comes to points allowed. We actually do see that the Knicks rank really, really good as they actually rank 13th. Moving on into assists allowed, we also see them rank 9th. And then rebounds allowed, we also see them rank 4th. So assists, they rank, a little bit lower in that 9th category, and then rebounds a little bit better. Now, obviously, all three categories, we see that the Knicks do rank very well, and that's why we do very much like the under for this situation here. For someone like Ivica Zubac, although he does have a really good usage rate in all three departments, we do very much like the under for this situation due to those reasons. We should see him go on the under here, and also on top of that, when you also look at both of these teams, the LA Clippers and Knicks, both very, very slow-paced teams. And since they are both slow-paced teams, we aren't expecting a lot of volume and a lot of pace from this game. So less volume, less pace, which also means the less opportunities for Zubac to rebound, to play make, and also to shoot. So for that reason, we definitely do like the under for this matchup between both of these teams. We definitely can see it, when we look at the last 5 games, we definitely have seen, that Clippers, when it comes to Ivica Zubac, have actually kind of restricted him when it comes to the way they actually play him. Zubac, he is coming off a game where he had 15 points, also 11 rebounds, 3 assists, so he was actually under on his averages besides assists. On top of that, another matchup where he had 17 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist, so he's under in all 3 categories there. And then another matchup where he also had 28 points, 20 rebounds, and 1 assist, so a difference in that one. But like we always mention, matchups, that's what's most important. And with a matchup like Ivica Zubac and the LA Clippers against Knicks, we definitely could see a very, very different story and see him go on the under in this situation here. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for Ivica Zubac coming into this matchup, as we definitely could expect him to see him go on the under for these reasons. So keep an eye out for Ivica Zubac's line. Like I said, keep an eye out for the line, and if the line is under his averages or too close to his averages at that, then definitely look to go on the under. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Michael Porter Jr. So as we all know, Michael Porter Jr. has had a little bit of an interesting situation when it comes to, his scoring ability and his ability out there on the floor, due to the fact that he does have a little bit of inconsistency throughout the season, but he's still averaging great numbers: 18.1 points, tying him at 49th, 7 rebounds, tying him at 33rd, 2.1 assists, tying him at 121st, and then 49.9% from the field, tying him at 36th. So when it actually comes to Michael Porter Jr. and the Denver Nuggets, they do have themselves a great matchup against the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, looking at both of these teams, we see that the Nuggets do have a record of 45-28. So very, very good record there. That currently ranks them 3rd in the Western Conference, And on top of that, they haven't actually clinched a playoff spot just yet. So that's definitely on the cards coming into this game. And they do face off against none other than the Milwaukee Bucks, who do rank 5th, but have a record of 40-31. And we definitely see that being a big case coming into this matchup. A big reason being for that is that when it comes to Bucks, although they are a fantastic team, they also, actually, when we look more in depth, we see that he's a small forward position. But when you look at Bucks, we do see that the Bucks do rank 12th in points allowed. Moving on into assists allowed, we see that they rank 10th. And then rebounds allowed, we also do see that the Bucks rank 26th. So because of those first 2 points and assists, we do very much like the under for this situation here. We definitely see someone like MPJ going on the, under for this situation. And when we look at the Bucks, we do see that the Bucks do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the small forward position. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. And we definitely see someone like MPJ being able to, kind of get restricted in that sense, which should lead to an under for this situation here. So keep an eye out for MPJ's line. Like I always mentioned, if the line is too close to his averages, definitely look to go on the under. So definitely see a lot of great value there.